Hey, how you doing, guys? For these week's topic, we're going to be having two of them. This one's kind of be some more questions and answers on my YouTube channel. And the first one we have is from Sayer Mark. I believe, hopefully I said that name right. Excuse me if I don't. Some of these names are hard to do it. Of course, some may just be made up for, username. This has to do with my Mac OS Sierra on a Mac Pro 4.1 2009 version. And this is what he says. Is it serious? You really didn't show us how you did that. You just talk a lot about it. Could you show us step by step from the beginning? Please insert links below. Not every video I do is meant to be tutorial or a how-to video. And in this case, that's not what I was trying to do. To me, it was more about to be informative and my experiences of putting this new firmware onto my own Mac Pro, and not necessarily how you do it. And also let viewers know there are resources available out there in the internet and other places, and this might be a viable option if you don't want to go out and get a new computer just to run Mac OS Sierra and things like that. So that's why you hear me talk more about it rather than show you how per se, and give you the problems that I had. I think I did run into one problem in the video. So, and if you look at some of the other YouTube videos as well, often they do the same thing. And I'll give an example. There's actually quite a few videos how you can upgrade your CPU on the 2013 Mac Pro, which is not an easy thing to do. You don't simply open it up, remove the cooling fan, and you have access to the CPU. It is a major tear apart for the new form factor, and it's very complicated. And many of those videos will actually fast forward through the whole thing and won't even show you how to do it. And in cases like those, the whole idea wasn't really show you how to do it, but just to say it is possible. You can upgrade the their Mac Pro. These are some of the problems that they had, and they may even put in links to the parts and things like that. So just keep in mind, I didn't really even say this is a how-to or tutorial. I will put some links though to give you some more information about it. And I'm trying to think the internet forums you go to. I think I already specified where in there you can do that to download the firmware. And then there's actually, if you go to Mac Rumors, there's actually a really good Mac Pro section, and you can look it up there as well. But that is a good question too. So thanks for providing that to me. And the next question statement comes from, I'm not going to say the whole thing because it kind of uses a bad word. That's a load of, and I'll just, you can think of the last part on there. This has to do with, I believe, using the Blackmagic Thunderbolt video capture device. It is an external device. And he says, thanks, nice video. Not much on the web using DSLRs for webcams on the Mac. How is it holding up a year later? And can you record directly within Final Cut Pro 10? Yes, there is really not a whole lot on using DSLRs, the HDMI outputs. And I think initially when they start putting on connectors on photo cameras, video cameras, it was to really show it externally onto a television or monitor. That way you could have a big screen to watch it on. Some people don't even make videos with it or put it on a CD-ROM. They just keep the tapes. This is going way back when. And of course, many manufacturers take account of that, and they'll make recording devices, capture cards, and things that will use HDMI, SDI, HD, SDI, and so forth. There's many, quite a few standards out there now. Now on DSLRs, it can be tricky. I'll give you an example. You may have a 4K camcorder, which will record in 4K up to 4K, but often the DSLR or the HDMI output may only be 1080p, and often it won't stream at a high data rate. It may actually be lower, and there's some negatives to that as well. But it can be very useful. So keep that in mind if you're trying to use a DSLR camera. I'll give an example, a Canon T3i. I think there's a 5D Mark III, or there's several others out there. I'm not really a photographer. That you can use the HDMI outputs, but just keep in mind of those limitations. It also says here, how's it holding up a year later? To tell you the truth, I am not really using that right now. In fact, I'm using an external PCIe box, using the regular PCI expansion card for the Blackmagic, because actually there's less cables for me to run, and it kind of sets up quite a bit more neater into my mixer, so I can record both video and audio, which I'm actually doing right now. I'm using the expansion card. And can you record directly within Final Cut Pro 10? Now, I do remember seeing something you can use a capture device straight into Final Cut Pro 10. I don't really use it that way, but I might do some testing in the future, perhaps. In fact, the way I record now is much different. I used to take it from the Canon C100. From the card, I put it into Final Cut Pro 10. I would color balance, white balance, do film convert, give it that film look. Now I don't have that much time, so to speed up my workflow as fast as possible, I pretty much go directly from this camera to the capture card and directly into Wirecast. And Wirecast is actually making an MP4 as we speak, so there's no editing. It makes it much faster. And the picture profile, I actually use a more colorful one, the EOS, I'm trying to think of the one I use, standard picture profile. So it gives you, it kind of oversaturates the color a little bit and gives you, so I can use as less editing as possible. So that's kind of my workflow right now. So thanks guys for your questions, and I'll post that up right now.